What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Here we go, baby. It is that time. Officially, we are back. 9 o'clock, as always. Liam, thank you for the roses. TikTok's coming in fresh right now. You guys are way better than YouTube, just saying. Way better. Casey with the heart means, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Just way, way better than the YouTube people. I'm only kidding. Anyway, hope you're doing well. Welcome back. It is officially Tuesday night. The markets, okay. We're going to talk about it, all right? I didn't want to talk about it, but I feel like we need to talk about it. So, the big R word. I feel like it should have its own music. Maybe we could try and get some music. What do you reckon? What do you reckon? Hold on a minute. I'm going to try. We're gonna try and do something, all right? We're gonna try and do. I don't know what we're gonna try and do, but we're gonna try and do something cool, all right? YouTube, let me know what the volume's like, because it was super weird on my recordings last night, so I tweaked a few things. So we need to just make sure it's okay. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well anyway. Like I said, we're going to sort of try and get into it, and we're going to sort of try and get through it all. Sounds good here, Mark Noby. Bullish. Okay, so I think I don't even know if this is gonna work, by the way. I don't know if it's gonna work. TikTok, it might not work, but anyway, we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it. I just realized that I actually can't hear it, which is kind of annoying, and neither can TikTok. But anyway, just to let you guys know, it's still going, if you can believe that. Anyway, right, it is that time. Right, hopefully we're back. Hopefully we're back, everybody. Let me know. Let me know, YouTube, if we are back. We should be back, but I don't know if we are. Anyone know if we're back? Anyone at all know if we're back? Are we back? YouTube? Back! All right, good. Somehow we saved that, and I'm not really 100% certain how. But anyway, holy shit. Missed yesterday's session. Plenty to catch up on. Thanks, as always, 2-bit. Liam, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, okay. I don't know what happened there, but everything just got rugged. But we're back. We are officially so back, baby. We're so far back. The Bitcoin price is dumping. So let me bring this up, because for some reason, my chat decided to go super weird. Is that what? That's not even what I want to look at, but anyway. Anyway, that is not the right window. Hold on a minute. I'll tell you what, it's a good job I didn't just have anything random on it. There we go. Right. Jesus. That was a hard start to the show. Right. Good news. We're back. Unfortunately, some people did leave the show. But anyway, let's talk about the markets. Let's just take a quick look at what's going on. Then we're going to look at some data. We're going to get into why a recession, well, not even why I'm thinking is a recession, by the way. The Federal Reserve have officially come out and said, yep, get ready, because it might be that time, unfortunately, when the recession is here, which is not going to be good news, by the way. So let's take a look at the price of BTC and walk through the charts, and then we're going to get into all of it. So here we go then. Nice little bounce here on BTC, coming in from the lows that we talked about before. Still a way down market to think about, and interesting enough, bouncing off that low range around the 91,000, 92K to a degree, but actually saw a little bit of optimism. The positive, if that makes sense, the positive, by the way, is that we actually see alts starting to move a little bit. Now, before we start getting the banners out, sombreros, and start celebrating the fact the bull market is not over, we do need to be mindful of this particular bounce. Also, in other news, look, I don't have the tea bag in my tea. I made it in time tonight, so I didn't need to leave the tea bag in. So, again, Bitcoin bouncing here. If we go to the daily candles, you can kind of see where it is. The chart, by the way, still looks absolutely terrible. And my predictions still remain solid in the fact that I still think we come back down, we retest 86.8. That's kind of where I sit right now. If you went a little bit lower, which, I mean, you wouldn't really, to be honest. I mean, you could argue and say, well, this was the official move to bit, the all-time high push, but the argument, I guess, would sit relatively okay at around 90, well, it's just below 90,000 in it, but interesting, this lower line here. So you kind of argue, but my view right now, I think it's from this one is where I would take the line from, and my prediction therefore is 86,865. which I'll be talking about as well, which is kind of interesting. So we'll have to kind of keep an eye as to where this is. However, you know, let's not take away today. We actually saw a little bit of a bounce, which is positive. The more positive, like we said, is the altcoin market. Look at this reaction for Ethereum, by the way, here off this support line that we drew the other day. Very good support line bounce off there. But, you know, the rest of the altcoin market looks pretty good. Aerodrome. You can all thank me, by the way, if you're still in Asta. You can thank me very much for that. For selling my Asta bag, and that's why it's kind of pumping. Also, I did actually sell some more Ethereum last night, albeit it was still around this sort of price. I think it was like 3,100 or something like that. So, but you can thank me for this. Like, you can be like, oh man, thanks 2bit for selling some of your cryptocurrency. This is why the market's going up. So I'm still very much in most of the big positions though. So that is kind of good news. We're going to walk through a couple of things in just a minute though. I realized I hadn't said hello to anybody that's in the chat. So shout out to Casey. Welcome in. Rob's good to see you, man. Welcome. Hot Maletta, what's going on? Welcome in. Stardog's in the building. Cheese. Billy Bob, what's going on, buddy? From Detroit. Welcome in. MB Ghost 79. Holy shit. I haven't seen you in about 2 years. What's going on, bro? Hope you're doing well, man. Hope things are treating you very, very well, as always. Appreciate you being here. Very much welcome, as always. Which is good. Stop being a chicken and hold. Can you sell your XRP 2-bit? No! I did say that XRP was one of the ones where I think they'll outperform the market in general. I actually think they'll probably do pretty well versus the broader market. If you get into a world of assuming that some coins are going to sort of hold up pretty well, my argument would definitely be for XRP. I think ETH will do pretty well, and I think Solana will do well as well. So I haven't really come out of those. I sold kind of like miscellaneous ETH, if that makes sense. So in some of the like DeFi wallets, my big like ledger part, you know, by the way, when I'm talking big, I'm talking like $600, something like that. I'm still holding that in the ledger, and my Solana is still staked, and my XRP is still very much in my ledger as well. So, but broader market kind of feels okay. All right, we'll take it as is, which is good news. So that is kind of where I get to with BTC. A couple of key things just to note here: 3.14 trillion on the global market. Once again, this reaction bounce here from this lower range. And the key thing to think about right now, alts are moving just a little bit, right? Just a little bit, which is kind of good news. In the total 10, which is everything minus stablecoins, ETH, BTC, is actually up 2.7. And then the others outside of the top 10, looking pretty good as well. So, you know, when I use the terminology looking pretty good, it's a bounce. Don't go FOMOing into this. I've seen people like, oh, I told you, here it come. Like, please be mindful. There is some broader markets. For example, we still see consistent ETF outflows. BlackRock dumping yet again another 1,600 BTC. So again, there are absolutely some macros. And when you look at this, Bitcoin just had the worst November in 7 years. BTC recorded its weakest November since 2018 and worst month in over 3 years. As of right now, okay? As of right now. And bear in mind, that's from what you enter versus where you are. So we know we came into November probably not as optimistic as maybe we would have hoped, but still, we thought maybe we'd get some upside momentum. But, you know, certainly November is feeling pretty pants at the minute. So what else have we got going on? And then we're going to get into it. So this, I don't know if you guys have seen this, and I can't really make it much bigger, but maybe I can do this actually, which might be a bit bad. There we go. So this is the map of the US. All right. I think it's fairly obvious to see what it is, but what we've got here is anything in red is recession versus high risk. Treading water is yellow and grown is green. So red is obviously bad. Green is generally speaking good. This is based off technicals. Now, here's a question for the chat, right? Because remember, we're educational on this channel rather than just being kind of, oh, we think crypto's going to the moon. We want to try and be a little bit more educational, all right? Not like super knobhead educational, but just a little bit. Who can tell me what the indicator is to clarify whether something is a recession or not? There is a specific statement that you say that tells you whether something is defined technically as a recession or not. Anyone want to hazard a guess, all right? The chat's doing, and it should be like anyone? Ask Caroline. I mean, that's probably not a bad shout. Probably not a bad shout. Rate cuts? Nah, rate cuts are the output from recession. Let me just check TikTok, see if anyone's saying it there. Would want a defo reverse confirmation before buying? Yes, 100%. Or before going long on any trades. I would very much be in that place. So, it's on the end of my tongue, obviously, Craig. What's going on, Fairground? Good to see you, buddy. Welcome in. Mandy, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. So, the Trump indicator. So generally speaking, yes, Stardog knows what's up. 2 quarters of negative growth or negative GDP is generally what we use for, or Tim's got it as well, for, look at Billy Bob. Billy Bob knows what's going on. So yeah, generally speaking, if you look at it as a recession from a country perspective, 2 negative growths where you've got negative GDP, generally indicates a technical recession. Now, what you've got here is the states in the US that are reporting, I guess, technically negative growth over the course of the last 2. Now, obviously, these will have all had to. I don't know where they're blue and red states, by the way. I really don't know that as an example. But this is important to think about. Now, what is also, and I know this is super bright, and I know some of you are going to be like, 2-bit, why does it not have, like, the dark screen on? Well, it's not my problem, right? You want to be here. I mean, look at TikTok. Look like a pissing ghost. So the reality is that rate cuts tend to be the output from some of this. So this is kind of where we sit right now, is that you've kind of got quite a substantial amount of the US that are reporting on a technical data set the fact that there is recessionary feelings in them. Doesn't necessarily mean we're fully in a recession, because, again, it's different. But ADP jobs report, we'll get the full report tomorrow. Obviously, some of the data is now dropping, but the NER pulse report, which is basically a 4-week moving average. So data points each week gives you a general trend as where jobs markets, because it's dead easy to go, well, the jobs market's knackered. And we've sort of talked a little bit about this before, but the reality is, for the 4 weeks ending November 3rd, private employers shed another 2,500 jobs, which is actually, over the last 4 weeks, not the worst. Because you go back to kind of where we were October, by the way, or go through October, we had some pretty bad, weeks where we were seeing like 10,000 jobs removed. So remember, though, jobs generally are the indicator of what the Fed is going to do when it comes to rate cuts, and also whether there is an argument to say that there are recessionary fears out there. Okay, important to think about. I saw my bags yesterday, all in ASDC. Do you mean USDC? USDC. Any thoughts on Flare? I like it. I'm not in it, but I think it's good when you can then use that in terms of XRP, in my opinion. I think it's kind of good. So what does this tell us, by the way, right? What does this tell us? Well, job growth is sluggish, which, again, we kind of know to a degree. And we also know that, albeit the market's been propped up by an AI boom. So tomorrow night, we will talk about, we're going to talk about NVIDIA's earnings, which are going to come out tomorrow. And they're going to be absolutely spectacularly ridiculous. But will drive probably the S&P up a little bit. So, new hires typically fluctuate with business cycles. We talked about that 2 days ago, the ISM, as we've discussed. But the aging US workforce means demographics have begun playing a bigger role in the hiring decisions. So, if you remember, was it last week? And we brought up the chart that was basically showing you what was kind of propping up the market a little bit, which is a lot of capital was being used by retirees, older generation people that are kind of not specifically working. But what does it look like? Well, new hires of the share of total employment is actually starting to tick very much slowly, but actually starting to tick up towards the back end of October. Now, we didn't get anything super crazy the back end of October, but job hirings is generally a good news. Where are they going? And this is the key bit to understand, and then we're going to get on to where it all kind of plays out in just a minute. But professional business services, as well as trade, transportation, and utilities, education and health service, leisure and hospitality, although it says here gospitality. I don't know what the hell that is. But what you can see here is that the manufacturing measure, which is where you want to see growth, is actually pretty low down. And you look at 2024 versus 2025, actually we're seeing manufacturing in a year-on-year decline. This is where people say, well, this is because of tariffs. Like, this is the problem. Whereas you see things like trade, transportation, utilities, and you also see things like financial activities, etc., starting to move to the upside because they're getting a slight benefit from the tariff situation. But this is not great, by the way. And then you get into pay growth, and where are people actually getting paid more? Well, the reality is that you get it in financial services, as much as I believe that's probably a commission-based thing. Manufacturing is obviously going to be slow because we can't get enough freaking money into it. And then who the hell would be in information at negative 18%? Important to think about. Rest of it, pretty flat. So employers are taking a bigger share of new hires, even as amid the slow of job creation. This suggests that more workers are heading for the exit. So how do you make this happen, right? How do you kind of stop this thing? And by the way, we'll talk about this in a minute, by the way, but this is Governor Christopher Waller and what he talked about. And by the way, he did specifically quote recessions. So we're going to discuss that in just a minute because I think it's important. But how do you support job growth back in the US outside of maybe what Trump's telling you is going on? Well, you cut rates, you cut costs, you get rid of debt, you increase the Federal Reserve balance sheet, you basically stop QT, and you try and pump the markets full of liquidity. That's kind of what you've got to do. Which, unpopular decision, but I have been on this decision now for, man, I genuinely think I am the only person that's saying that there may be a double cut in December. Now, I know that sounds insane. I know it sounds insane. It does sound insane, but hear me out. So 48.9% up about 1.5%. If the labor market rolls over, so for example, you get, let's say we get the full ADP jobs report tomorrow, and then let's say we get job data, I think it's even next week or the week after, and it's fucking terrible, right? Terrible. The reality is that the Fed is going to have, you can't go into a recession to a degree at 4.4%, 3.75%, 4% interest rates. Like, I definitely think they're going to have to do something, which could mean that this goes to a double rate cut. We'll have to see. I think it's going to be very much driven on the jobs data that's going to come in. So, with that kind of said, I've got a couple of other charts and stuff that we'll look at in a minute, but the probability of a 25 basis cut in December is declining. Look at how bullish they were over the course of October before we sort of all knew that, Vern, what's going on, buddy? Before we knew the market was going to totally roll over and end up in the absolute gutter. We are now declining. And I still think, though, this is declining based on, think about it, on non-factual data. This is the point. Like, the minute the data comes out, if the data is suggestive that it's not good, then we certainly could see another thing. Chippy, what's your thoughts on Kronos? I used to be in it. I weirdly think I have some tectonic somewhere, but I think it's unfair to say I don't care about it, but I don't really have much to do about it, to be honest. But yeah, my view of Kronos is always a little bit like, what's the reason they're going to go and use that versus any other chain? I'm just going to do BTC moving forward. Altcoins are too stressful. That's true. Just do top altcoins. Solana's a great pick, by the way. If you believe the market might have a little bit more, my opinion, Solana, it's on discount and you get 7% if you stake it. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. The chopper who screwed up his trade on ADA should be banned from trading even though he lost 6 mil. Wow. 7 ETFs coming in hot rest of the month. No biggie. You know what's going on, Matt. Matt knows what's up, baby. What's going on, Matt Grimes? Good to see you, buddy. Welcome in. Welcome in. Buy the dumps, add the dips, smile and sit back. Ghost knows what's going on as well. Matt says end of January 2026, in my opinion, will be epic for the bull run. I hope so. I hope so. Barstool guy bought 500k of XRP last night. Dave Portnoy. Is it Dave Portnoy? I don't believe so. I don't even know what that is, by the way. Get out of here. Robert is worth 45 million about a year ago. Holy shit, that's wild, isn't it? Anyway, so let's talk a little bit. I want to just spend a bit of time on this. And I know that some people might be like, oh, 2-bit, let's just talk about coins. And all. But I think this is important because this is going to shape exactly where we feel about the market. And bearing in mind, right now, what we are trying to do is establish whether this rate cut is going to happen or whether it's going to be more. The way we do that is we've got to understand where the specific individuals that are going to vote on this policy are sitting right now. We know Stephen Mirren's going to go 50 basis points, all right? He's super macro bullish on the markets, and we've talked about this before. He is in a world of where is the market going to be in like 6 months' time. Don't base it on now because we're already too late. Base it on where the market's going to be. So he's like, the labor market's weakening. We can see that. Jobs declining. Like, you need to cut rates, okay? So I'm not going to go through it fully, but Governor Michelle or Michael S. Barr, I think it's Michelle actually, isn't it? Is it Michelle? Is that how you spell Michelle? I thought it was 2 L's. Maybe it's not. Anyway, I thought it was a woman. Am I making this up? Oh no, he is actually a man. Speech by the Governor Barr. Cool. All right. Where are you getting 7% for staking Sol? I'm getting it on Phantom Wallet. Yeah, Phantom do it with their validators. So remember, it's proof of stake chain. So yeah, I think it's like 7.25 or something. Last time I checked, anyway. It's on my phone that TikTok's on, so I can't check it. But yeah, when I put them on there, it was definitely about 7.5. Yeah, I get it. I get it to about peak. People are still bearish. That means to me, before people can put longs in, big jumps inbound. Maybe. I think what's sensible right now is don't get super excited about this tiny little move here because we've seen this before, and then we continue to go down. Get it right, Mike. Their pronouns are they, them. My little boy came home and he was like, oh, we've been learning about they, them. And I was like, all right, tell me a little bit more. And he was like, they eat biscuits and look at them eating biscuits. I was like, all right, cool. That's fine. Oh, dear. Yeah, Coinbase is terrible. Don't forget, Coinbase want to make some money on the back of it. Anyway, so Governor Michael S. Barr, he was talking specifically for the case of effective banking supervision. So we're kind of not really asked about this, Michael S. Barr, but I did think it was worth touching on a couple of things, I guess, in terms of where he's at, and once again, why he's talking about jobs. So this little comment, this little kind of section here is definitely where we want to talk about. So basically, he kind of talks a little bit about the economy, all critical aspects of a healthy economy, ensuring banks operate in a safe and sound manner. Essentially, the banking system's at the center of the economy. That is why banks' risk-taking must always be guided by clear guide rails and underpinned by effective banking supervision, okay? What he says here, in the middle of the crisis, I saw firsthand in my own community in Michigan what weak regulation and supervision can mean. Foreclosure homes, which, by the way, is on the increase, so you got to be mindful of that, shuttered businesses, and jobs lost. Okay, sounds familiar? According to the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, Michigan's unemployment rate was 14.9% in 2009, meaning 1 in 7 workers were out of jobs. Nationwide, the consequences were immense. Nearly 9 million jobs lost, 8 million homes foreclosed upon, and 17 trillion loss in household wealth. Like, the recession's bad. I mean, it's like really bad. I mean, sometimes Bitcoin could be a slightly more beneficial place to be, but the reality is it's almost like it's a self-eating prophecy, isn't it? People panic about recession, so people don't spend any money, which means that the economy contracts, which means people don't spend more money, which means the economy contracts even more, which means you end up in a freaking recession, all right? So that's the kind of reality of where we get. But what does he talk about? And I guess, where do we potentially kind of get to? So a credible ratings framework. This is kind of interesting stuff we talked about here. He talks specifically about supervisory ratings, essentially making sure the banks have got liquidity. Because, again, we've talked about this before. Let me just see if I can bring this up, just because I think it is worth it's worth noting. And it gives you an idea as to how bad the problem could get if it's allowed to go unchecked, which is man, I can't remember where it is now. Here. So we've talked about this before. The repo debt graph, important to think about. So this is obviously, again, we've talked about this a couple of times. If anyone is brand new here, by the way, welcome to the channel. I appreciate you being here. Don't forget, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with all things cryptocurrency, as well as keeping your eyes on the markets. I got you covered, all right? We've got it covered. We talk about it every day. We keep you dialed into this market, 100% sure. So remember, the Federal Reserve repurchase agreement. Banks call up. They're like, yo, Mr. Bank or Mr. Federal Reserve, I need some cash because holy shit, tomorrow looks like it's going to be wild. I've got Tim's cashed in his, his Bitcoin. He needs to come and get 10 million out of the bank. So the reality is that you want to see a declining repo debt, which we kind of are, but at the same time, we still are seeing some of it. So banks still can't fulfill the demand that they have. And this is kind of what he was talking about here. He said here, and in taking this action, the board ignored more moderate reform options that would have stabilized the composite rating for large bank companies, basically making sure that bank holding companies can have, for example, serious deficient consumer compliance programs, but still be considered well margins. It's fucking nonsense. It's like saying, well, this group of people over here, they're really bad. Like, they miss their payments. They can't pay it back. They're absolutely margins and leveraged beyond a joke. Like, they're literally 2x their entire capital net worth. But they're kind of cool, and they came in a yellow jacket, and they've got a little kid, and the little kid's called, like, man, what would the little kid be called? Like Tiberius or something absolutely fucking mental. And these are the people that they're like, oh man, I see another month. And we talked about margin debt as well as being like a big thing. So the fact is that, generally speaking, they ignored it. So where does that then put them? Forward looking, a second component of effective supervision, it must be forward looking in purpose of supervision to prevent risk from becoming problems that harm banks and the public. Okay. By anticipating vulnerabilities and prompting early action, supervisors use tools such as stress testing and scenario analysis to prevent problems and escalating. In contrast, backward-looking supervision often detects weakness only to become serious problems. Now, he goes on for loads more stuff here, but the reality is that we sort of get to the end where he's like, look, we basically need to manage the banks, manage the liquidity. We absolutely need to make sure that we have a broader deregulatory momentum while at the same time making sure there are constraints placed on supervisory action to make sure the banks aren't screwing people, because that's when you get a super bad recession and you get the kind of big short and everything falls to pieces, okay? Now, Christopher Waller, however, he was talking about the case for continuing rate cuts. Let's go, Christopher Waller. So, like we said, we should probably make a bingo card now of just where we think the Federal Reserve's going to vote. But we know Stephen Mirren's going to go 50 basis points, right? That's a thing. We know he's absolutely Trump plant, get in there, make rate cuts coming down. But what does Christopher Waller talk about? So, my objective today is to follow the tradition of use economic theory and various types of data to describe my outlook for the US economy and my views on the appropriate cause of monetary policy. So again, monetary policy being obviously where we want to see this, this kind of pushed down. So where are we going to? The data is telling us, first, the labor market is still weak and near stall speed. Okay, bad news, right? Second, inflation through September continued to show relatively small effects from tariffs. What? And support the hypotheses that tariffs are having a one-off effect raising price levels across the US. Okay? Well, it's kind of okay, good news. And a not persistent source of inflation. I mean, the stimulus checks definitely are going to be, but I mean, tariffs, maybe not. Maybe not. I still don't think that's fully true, by the way. But again, I'm not an economist, so I guess I don't really get to have a point. But underlying inflation is relatively close to the Federal Open Markets Committee, FOMC 2% target. So we know that trueflation sits at about what, 2.4? 2.4, something like that. Where is trueflation? Yeah, so 2.85. So slightly elevated from where it has been. Oh, no, this isn't the actual thing. Hold on a minute. Where do we want to go to? Trueflation 2.54. Okay, cool. So 2.54 is where currently trueflation sits. Again, it's a measure of modern consumer spending, yada, yada, yada. Okay, we sort of get to all that point. But he then goes on to talk about this. Third, despite realized inflation running close to 3% and above target for the 5 years, medium and long-term inflation expectations remain well anchored. So as much as inflation is kind of ticking up, it's still fine, right? It's still fine. Remember, we talked about this previously, by the way, is that the inflation probably is never going to go to 2% again, unless you get some like super crazy, like insane global trade deals and everything starts to come down in prices, like energy falls through the floor, like CPI data, I just don't think you're ever going to get to a 2%. But he goes on to talk about this. This reading of the data leads me at the moment to support a cut in the FOMC's policy rate at our next meeting in December 9th and 10th as a matter of risk management. As I will discuss in more detail, risk management is in fact provides some practical guidance in dealing with two questions that seem to have been flummoxed. Is job creation slow down the US this year mostly supply or demand related? And how should monetary policy respond? So he's kind of like, look, we definitely just need to cut. I don't give a flying fuck what the markets say. We are cutting, baby. We are cutting. So Stephen Mirren's going to push for it. We also know Chris Waller's going to push for it. So while ever, and this is kind of where you start to get a little tinfoil hatty again, while ever this is saying, well, maybe they're not going to cut. So far, I think we have 3 Federal Reserve Board members that are going to cut. You'll need 5. So interesting. The one big thing to take out as we kind of walk through this, though, is of course one factor lowering economic growth is the fourth quarter is the shutdown. Everyone knows that, which lasted longer than many expected. And we'll continue to assume that any loss in real GDP growth in the fourth quarter will boost growth by roughly the same amount early next year. So, like we talked about yesterday, if you believe in a 2026 bull market cycle, this could be another reason why you get it. The actual move from the government shutdown may end up moving into 2026 as opposed to being 2025. Benlum, what's going on, buddy? Tap it. Hit the like button, everybody. Yeah, shout out that. Davo, Fairground's keeping everyone in track over there on TikTok. Thanks, Fairground. I appreciate it. Don't forget, if you got your questions, then let me know. Davo, thank you for the heart me's. Appreciate that. Are we going to start moving back up this week too a bit? I wouldn't be super bullish just yet. I would definitely wait for confirmation. At the minute, we've had a nice bounce. Let's see what that confirmation kind of looks like over the course of the next 24 hours, in my opinion. It's an absolute failure of international policy to continue about this market when it will be the catalyst for the future. I agree, Richard. You are 100% correct. My mate is an IT manager at Lloyd's and showed me some of the info they get about blockchain, and it was all about Ripple. Ooh. Love it. What's going on, Mike? Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Welcome in. From what I'm seeing as stores, stroke malls, and listening to people talk, consumer spending is going to be off the hook December, Christmas. I mean, that could be a catalyst for us into 2026 for sure. Generally speaking, it isn't though, because it's been rubbish. Interestingly, last Christmas, outside of like a couple of key areas, it was dreadful. So let's continue on. While over the decades, this survey has not been closely correlated near spending, large persistent drops in consumer sentiment have occurred heading into a recession. So consumer sentiment is going to be the big one to keep your eyes out on, as well as the job market. It's a cooling jobs market. People not spending money, like I just said. This is a self-fulfilling prophecy, is that once you start on this downward trend, it's bad news, all right? It's bad news. And I think that is the one thing that everyone is kind of watching and very much kind of keeping their eye out. For example, consumer sentiment fell about 6% in November, with the consumer sentiment index for November 2025 at 50.3, down from its 53.6 in October, nearly 3 points below expectations. So consumer sentiment is down, and it's down because people are scared about tariffs. And by people being scared about tariffs, I mean people spend less money, which means that you get my point, yeah? You kind of get my point here. We will obviously get the FOMC minutes tomorrow. That could be pretty interesting to see where that goes. He goes on to talk about lots of other things and blah, 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 blah. And then in summary, where does it get to? And I guess kind of his view of the market and why this is important. Well, he gets here. He says, so let's talk about the implications of the hard and soft data with underlying inflation close to the FOMC's target and evidence of a weak labor market. I support cutting the committee's policy rate by another 25 basis points at our December meeting for reasons I have explained. I am not worried about inflation accelerating or inflation expectations rising significantly. My focus is on the labor market, and after months of weakness, it is unlikely that September jobs report later in the week, which I think will be well, we kind of have the 4 week. I think we get ADP tomorrow. The day in the next few weeks would change my view as the cut is in order. I worry the restrictive monetary policy is weighing on the economy, especially about how it's affecting low and middle income consumers. The December cut will provide additional insurance against an acceleration in the weakening of the labor market and move policy towards a more neutral setting. So if you are in a world of saying, well, look, I still believe the best of the Bitcoin bull market is still upon us, and I believe that the markets are going to go crazy. And let me tell you why. Well, look, we know that we've got Federal Reserve board members already publicly saying they should cut rates. Well, cutting rates is generally going to be a good news story. They also believe that actually, even though inflation is ticking up marginally, that this isn't a big deal. And the big bit is tariffs. Well, tariffs aren't a thing. I mean, I don't think Trump talks about tariffs much else. I think there'd have to be some super like geopolitical problems for him to kind of go like, go in on tariffs again. I personally don't see it, but this is worth noting, and therefore we might see it. Now, what happens in the short term, I still think you've got uncertainty in the market. I still think there is real concerns. I still think you've got big movements out of particular institutional money coming out, which could signal that we're going to see a push further down. But today at least feels positive. You know what I mean? We're in a good news story for the day. So yeah, let me know what you think. Recession. In fact, we'll do a poll at the end of the stream. You guys get it. Construction across the US is down a lot. Cut the rates. Exactly, Mike the Roofer. I mean, the name's in the title, isn't it? Oh dear. Mike knows. He's living it and breathing it. Not like us internet geeks. 15,000 likes. Hey, TikTok, making it happen right now. We got 57 likes here on YouTube, by the way. 150 people in the stream. Do me a quick favor. Give us a thumbs up. Would appreciate it. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button as well, remember every day putting content out, keeping you dialed into this market, and equally trying to bring you complete facts so that you can hopefully survive what's going on. So we talked a little bit about recession. Let's talk about a couple of the key things now, specifically related back to the crypto market and how the short term and potentially then the price upside. What do you mean why the TikTok number's so high? Because I'm great at live streaming. Felix, what do I think about XRP? Bullish, and yeah, I think there's sorry, I just caught my finger. I think there's a very much a good argument for XRP to be the one that outperforms during the bear market. Like bear market, who cares? Trump and the Saudi, $1 trillion from Saudi Arabia. It's pretty big. It's pretty big. This is what I was saying last night, though. Imagine that was everybody, the Saudi prince. What a I can't do a Trump accent, but what a great man. You're really good man. Deep pockets, everybody. If he said, well, they're going to invest, $750 billion, $750 billion. That's with a T, trillion dollars. And then he went, and they're going to buy $250 billion worth of Bitcoin. The Bitcoin market would have gone absolutely skyrocketing. But we can't be in a world where we hope for that. We're thinking about. Do you think this is the start of the bear market or just a shakeout? I think it's a bit more than a shakeout and a correction, if I'm honest. But do I feel it's a full-blown bear market? Not yet. I think we are bearish, but I don't necessarily agree that it's a bear market. That's my view. And I couldn't really tell you what I've done. I've taken about 40% of my portfolio off the table. That's in stablecoin, and I'll see how the markets move. You know, I'm still in for 60%. So yeah, we'll see. But I don't necessarily think we're in a bear market just yet. Taking away between 185, 210 on XRP is a good move. I mean, that's true. Now, there is an interesting chart, by the way, that I wasn't going to show, but I think it's worth showing when we talk about XRP, because I just realized I actually have a window open here. It's a little bit of a cheat sheet. Okay. This is actually a cheat sheet. It's a little bit of an insider alpha that I don't think a lot of people will tell you about. And this is the alpha, by the way, specifically when it comes to XRP. Look at this. Bosh. What do you think this chart is showing us? TikTok, do you want to see this, by the way? If you're bullish on XRP, you need to see this chart. Here you go. Anyone want to hazard a guess what it is? I mean, you can see the title, by the way, in the top left-hand corner, but anyway. So the percentage supply and profit. Now, this isn't actually a good chart to look at when you talk about XRP specifically. Roughly 42% of the entire XRP supply is in red. This means it's underwater. This means people bought higher than the current price. Roughly 41.5% of the entire XRP supply is sitting at a loss, the lowest profitability level since November 2024, when the price was just 53 cents. So you might be thinking, what? Hold on. So you're just going to tell me you're bullish on XRP and then show me the fact that over nearly half of everyone that owns XRP is underwater. This does mean, though, that there'll be lesser selling pressure as it goes up, in my opinion. So you've got way more people holding the bag. Think about Bitcoin. You remember we did the live stream about, I don't know, probably early October, and we said 97% of all people holding Bitcoin are in profit. Flip that on its head. Actually, you might see XRP just hold better into the bear market, is what we've been talking about. So worth noting right that. Okay, good news. The CME gap did get filled. Talked about this in my video update. Did get filled in fully to the max. Be mindful from a technical standpoint, though. It is a perfect bounce off the CME gap. You do need to be mindful of this move. Is it as confident? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's almost a perfect candle body close on the CME gap. So, like I said, we've been talking about this for a while, but not Rect Capital, Titan of Crypto here giving his view, saying, look, I'm seeing a lot of enthusiasm on my feed, but don't get too excited for now. This is just a totally classic technical bounce. So, definitely kind of keep your eyes peeled on that. Yeah, they all do. I mean, if you actually study like what people put out on X, even YouTube, I'd argue, like some people will be like there'll have been videos of people going, yeah, I sold everything. I got into stable coins, $125,000. Like I'm there. And then they'll do like a video on like a week later when the market pumps, and they'll be like, oh man, yeah, I didn't sell anything. I'm super bullish on this market. Like, it's wild. Anyway, but don't get too excited. So think about that. You've got to trade these markets sensibly. Now, public interest in the crypto market, however, is descending. We actually have seen this before. So people just don't give a shit about cryptocurrency right now. Will they? I think so. But the minute they don't care, there's been way more exciting things, shiny, exciting things like gold, shiny, exciting things like the stock market. Like, who the hell cares about the stock market? But anyway, worth thinking about as we walk through and see this. And yeah, kind of gives us an idea as to maybe where or where not this market's going to go. So worth noting. Once it starts to reverse, then, we might see some upside. They're telling lies, mate. Throw the other, yeah, I mean, tell me about it. Tell me about it. So yeah, but think about it. Think about it. I mean, it's a pretty wild chart, isn't it? What you got here is the exchanges, by the way, where you've got particular cryptocurrency purchases on it. All lot's going to get totally wrecked, and no one will hold any when they go to the moon starting late 2026. I mean, that is also true. We talked about that before, haven't we? Like, maybe this is just one of those things where they're trying to push the market down to, new lows, and everyone's going to freaking buy at the bottom. Perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. So anyway, that's kind of that. And then, like we said, just from a macro sentiment, we definitely saw some further outflows with reasonably balanced volume, but IBIT still dumping a lot of its Bitcoin. Now, the potential is this reverses tomorrow, given the fact that we've actually had a reasonable day overall in the official cryptocurrency market. But at the same time, it is obviously worth keeping an eye on what is happening. So, like I said, lots of interesting stuff going on. Is it really making much of a difference? Probably not at the minute. Probably not at the minute. And at this current rate of dumping on BTC, then we might actually end up in red for the day. Look at that, 0.49. We've dumped like nearly $1,000 again. Last time I saw all those colors at once, I woke up in Amsterdam with just one shoe. What's going on, Stu? I love how every single comment I've read the past month, everyone acts like they know what's going to happen. Oh, Frankie, like, you can literally flip-flop on people. I mean, I can't think who it was now. Someone posted something, didn't they? And they got, man, I know this is like a ridiculous thing. Someone got absolutely wrecked. Anyway, you only have to look at kind of what it is. That we try, my thumb's a little bit clicky, maybe. But we try and be objective. We try and deal in facts rather than mythology, I think is probably a good idea. But anyway, that is your update. Let me know what you think in the comments. And also, if you're watching this after the stream, then let me know what you think. But do you think we are heading for a recession in the USA? I mean, technically, if you live in the UK, we have a predicted or a projection of GDP at 0.1. Like, we could be in a recession like next week. Yeah, imagine that. Like, imagine that. We could literally just be in a recession here in the UK in like tomorrow. Not saying you're not informative, but I keep hearing we're starting a bear market. So again, I don't know how long you've been in the stream. I don't believe this is a bear market. What I believe is there are definitely an argument to say that there is bearish sentiment, but at the same time, there are certain things that you look at and you think, well, maybe, just maybe. But I do think in terms of 2025, I do think there's only one of two narratives, which is one, the market continues to drop down. Two, we go into a recession, and recession end up being, pretty bad. If you don't believe in that and you believe that actually we've got way more upside to come and 2026 is going to be insane, then, you kind of almost have to be in a world where you don't believe the recession is going to come. I live in Canada, so why I'm seeing things, we kind of are in depression. I thought Canada was all right. I thought Canada was okay. Remember, GDP is the big thing. Let's see. I saw it on X, actually. Global GDP predictions. We're definitely about to pump, guys. We need to calm down. Let's hope so. Frankie, I'm bullish on you, bro. Like I said, I want to be wrong. I want to be so wrong. And by the way, I'm not in a world where I'm not fully in stablecoin. I've tried to be sensible and de-risk. That's all I've done. UK is definitely a recession. Oh, mate, the UK is fucking screwed. It's not often I actually comment about how bad the UK is, but it is bad. It is bad. Did Canada start QE? I think they held rates, didn't they, last time? I think they held rates. But yeah, the UK is knackered. 0.1 GDP. I mean, think about that. It's awful. Awful. Right. Top 10. Oh, I want a percentage, not that. I mean, these numbers have kind of changed, but this is an interesting one. Fastest growing economies in 2026, allegedly. So we're going to see India, China, Saudi Arabia is an interesting one. The US predictions at 2.1. Followed by Spain, Brazil, Mexico, Canada. We're not going to grow at 1.30. Not a chance. And the world predicted to grow at 3%. Not sure I agree with that. I definitely thought there was like a way better one. Maybe not. I know I make good money, but it's still survival at this point. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, the UK is in recession. Yeah, who cares about GDP? Everybody's struggling. Well, because GDP will, if you've got growing GDP, you're less likely to have a bad recession and you're more likely to get a soft landing. If you've got negative GDP, like, get ready because it's about to get tasty. I think, I don't know if we can see, like, hold on a minute. Let's do this. Let's do this and see if we can you analyze GDP growth versus recessions and put it onto a graph for me? UK doesn't know its house from its hell, but I mean, it really doesn't, actually. Really doesn't. I'd like to hear your thoughts on Brexit, and here's it helped or just made everything worse. So, I don't want to turn this. I don't want to turn it into a political show. My view on Brexit is we exited Brexit with no plan, and then in typical British fashion, we just ostracize and get rid of the people that. It's a bit like the England football team, isn't it? When we actually give people the opportunity, look at what Gareth Southgate did with the England team. When we gave him an opportunity to actually help and actually build a team, we did well. What we tend to do is go, right, you've got this chance to make it happen. And Brexit, I think, was that thing. We were like, get out of Europe. And then I don't think anyone thought it was going to happen. All of a sudden, we're out of Europe. The problem was we didn't leave Europe in its entirety. So we left it from a country of a group of countries, but we didn't actually leave it in terms of anything else. And that's kind of where I got. I personally think we should have just negotiated better agreements. But yeah, and economically, we're still too tied to Europe. That's the problem. We got shit trade deals with the European Union, and just look at what we did with that. It was like I can't think what it is. The Summit Islands. Like our trade deals with the EU are crap. That's the problem. So we should have left Europe if we were going to leave Europe, by the way, and renegotiated certain trade deals, which would have actually supported would essentially have supported the economy, but it didn't. And so we end up in this place where like we just don't have very good trade deals. And that's always a challenge, right? That's always going to be a challenge, isn't it? So, and then you sort of end up with these like separate trade deals for separate companies and It's all a bit weird, really. But yeah, that's my view. Do I think it would have been better to stay in Europe? Not sure. Not sure, to be honest. Right, so what do we got here? What am I looking at? I don't even know what I'm looking at here. Quarterly real GDP growth in the United States, downturn amid COVID-19 crisis, unemployment rate. Okay, and then real GDP growth. Okay, this is kind of interesting stuff. So when did we have, let's just look at, try and give us an idea. So we had the 2009 was the massive financial crisis. 2020 was COVID. So 2009, obviously you get negative GDP growth. I mean, look at some of these numbers, by the way. Italy, negative 6.5%. Spain. So negative GDP is definitely the indication of a recession. And like I said, self-fulfilling prophecy where everything just goes to freaking zero and you end up in this kind of problem. So global GDP, I don't think is horrendous right now. I kind of want the percentages, to be honest, but if anyone can find the percentages, I'd be way more interested to look at that chart. But yeah, and then 2020, I don't have on there. Do we have it anywhere else? So 2020, so yeah, so you see a spike in you get a spike in unemployment in 2020. So these are the things we need to be mindful of. This is why, and essentially, you've got to be careful where the recessionary numbers come in. So Q1 of 2020, you saw negative 5% quarterly real GDP growth in the US. So at the minute, I guess at the minute, if we're being objective and you say, well, the US is a predicted 4%. Here's the problem though, right? Here's the problem with predicted GDP. And let's see if we can get, you have AI obviously coming in and you got AI coming in. So profits are probably still pretty good, but doesn't help jobs. And obviously jobs are kind of the big thing. So, I was hoping to get a prediction of what NVIDIA's earnings are going to be, because the reality is, we talked about this before, by the way, the S&P 500 is propped up by the NVIDIA and Microsoft and all the rest of it. We actually got negative movement on the S&P 500, which is super interesting that we actually saw a decline in both the NASDAQ and the S&P. NASDAQ less, unfortunately, but the S&P rallied back down, doesn't make any sense. Dumped back down, actually, 6609. So, some people a little bit uneasy about that. And I think this is the kind of increase in the potential recessionary fears and But I think NVIDIA earnings are going to be pretty wild, which I think is going to boost the AI market. But remember, boosting AI does absolutely call for jobs. Nothing, actually. So it is worth noting. So lots of people trading NVIDIA, going big, actually. So Whale opened a 10 million aggressive NVIDIA call, expires next week. Interesting. Polymarket, will NVIDIA beat quarterly earnings? 92% of people believe that, yes, they're going to beat it. So I think it's going to be pretty wild. Look at this chart, by the way. Gives you an idea of sort of where they've been. And they haven't had a green one now. So August was a negative 8%. I mean, it could be what do we think? 7% is what I've heard. I mean, that could be pretty wild if you ask me. Could be pretty wild. What was that? 12%, by the way. Look at Brett. Brett's going to the moon right now. Holy shit. Go, Brett. I agree when they tell us we are in a recession. We are actually just leaving a recession and moving into... Yeah, exactly, Richard. You are absolutely spot on. They're like, well, maybe we're in... But, hey, this is the good news, by the way. We'll be covering it here on the channel. We're going to be keeping it dialed in. We're going to be looking at all of this data, keeping you guys absolutely on point. On point. Sell the news? Maybe. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, by the way. If you want to get access to a Discord that's totally free, Check out the link in the description. Also, grab a link off my portfolio, not my portfolio, my profile here on TikTok. It's a totally free Discord. Get yourselves in there. Great community, good chats. If you want a little bit more, though, we do actually offer a premium Discord service that's got a bot in there that you can do technical analysis with, as well as you get much more access in terms of me. Whether anyone would want that, I don't particularly know. We also have trade signals, weekly reports, VC opportunities, a full breakdown of how to trade these markets, in which you've got a full guide both on trading indicators and trading strategies. So worth it. Become a channel member. You get free access to it. It's $8 a month, or subscribe on TikTok as well. So if you haven't already checked that out, it's definitely, in my opinion, worth it. But as always, I will be biased because it's my Discord. Oh, look at this. We got a 2-bit crypto. By the way, if you are in our Discord, by the way, do not answer. Do not answer if it's not me. The best way to get a hold of me, by the way, is to type in general chat, "Hey, 2-bit," and I'll answer you. I'm the only one that's got a red name in our Discord, so be mindful. But yeah, interesting. I like having this new manual process to check people out, because lots of people change their names and we catch them and we yeet them out of the group, which is kind of nice. So if you want a piece of that, check it out. How do you transfer XRP to MetaMask? You don't. Is the honest answer. I didn't think, can MetaMask take XRP? I don't think it can it? You're better off getting a ledger, in my opinion. But yeah, XRP, MetaMask. Curtis coming in fresh. Oh, you got the gold coin, Curtis. Holy shit, look at that. What a bullish. Member for 2 months, Curtis. Let's go, baby. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. MetaMask does not natively support XRP, which operates on its own blockchain. However, you can manage XRP with MetaMask using one of 2 methods. Using a MetaMask Snap. Snaps are third-party plugins that allow MetaMask to interact with non-Ethereum virtual machines. I just wouldn't bother, by the way. I'd just literally get a ledger or a specifically XRP or wallet. Damn, my name's Brian. Are we in a depression, not a recession? I don't think so yet. Yeah, see, Tim knows. Tim knows what's up. Don't forget, by the way, if you're here on TikTok, by the way, appreciate you guys. Do tap the screen a couple of times, lock in a couple of likes. I would massively appreciate it. My phone's dying, so I need to just plug that in there. And yeah, don't forget, by the way, if you're on YouTube as well, hit the like button. It'd be great if we got to 100 likes, as always. So, but yeah, I wouldn't use MetaMask. That's my opinion. Okay. If you got any questions, by the way, let me know in the chat. Also, TikTok, let me know as well. Anything that's on your mind, any coins you want us to take a look at, any DeFi players you guys have suddenly aped into, then let me know. Market definitely cooling off a little bit. ETH down below 3.1. Trust Wallet is way better than MetaMask. Yeah, I have Trust Wallet as well. I have like 6 MetaMask accounts, a Trust Wallet account, Exodus Wallet. My crypto's under my pillow. Best place. Best place for it. 100%. 100%. So, good. All right. Let's take a quick look at what is coming tomorrow. Let's see what's going tomorrow. Man, this screen is like, it's super bright. Super bright. So Wednesday, obviously we do get the federal minutes, the FOMC minutes. That'll be pretty interesting. Is it Chris Williams? No. Who's Fed Williams? What, I wonder what they're going to say. Who is Fed Williams? Fed Williams. John Williams. Let's see what he says. Hopefully he's more bullish than the rest of them. But yeah, he's talking tomorrow, so that could be interesting. I thought we had Federal Reserve balance sheet, but yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Tangam is the best wallet. Yeah, but I think I was going to get one then. GC's in the building. What's going on, GC? Good to see you, pal. Welcome in as always. Appreciate you being here. You Mr. Bullish. Mr. Bullish. Atlantis to the moon. Let's go, baby. Yeah, tune in tomorrow night. We'll be taking a look at what is going on with that project. It's a project I am excited about. We talked about Monad last night. And yeah, get ready. I think Atlantis is going to be good. And I'm excited about it. So if you are interested, by the way, this is definitely one to keep your eyes peeled on. I'm going to drop it in the chat, actually. I would just go over and give them a follow. And yeah, get ready. This is going to be pretty good, I think. If Monad goes big, expect this to go big. It's all going to zero. Abandon ship. No. Come on, bro. Come on. Charlie on base. Yeah, Charlie on base is doing all right, actually. I did a video about that yesterday. I don't know if you guys caught it, but they had a bit of a sell-off yesterday, but have bounced back pretty well, in fairness. So let's have a look. I got my DeFi bit here. So yeah, there you go. It's up nearly 10%, baby. 2-bit community's on fire. Look at that. There you go. Look, predictions and played out. So yeah, a couple of nice little buys coming in on this one. So like I said, team are cool as cucumbers. Like, yeah, cool as cucumbers on this one. So again, never financial advice. Never financial advice, actually. Bullish, brother. GC, what's going on, man? Yeah, so am I. But yeah, I like it. Hit this support line, bounced off it. Decent. So definitely check it out. But yeah, for sure, definitely watch what is going on. Like I said, we're gonna have some. Oops, where am I at here? We're gonna have loads of content about this, and we're gonna be covering this all the way up until probably the end of the year. So get bullish on this for sure, because like I said, the team are really cool. Had a really good chat with them the other night as well. So I'm excited about what it's gonna bring. And if you are in a world, by the way, we talked about Monad backed by Coinbase. Like, if Monad goes absolutely insane, then guess what? I think this one could do the same. So definitely check it out. Again, more content coming about this tomorrow night. So get ready for that. Are they thinking 0.25 or 0.5 for the cut? I missed early stream. 0.25 is kind of where we are right now. So Steve Mirren's going to go 0.5. Sorry, you've got Christopher Waller's gone 0.25, and we'll see what Mr. Williams does tomorrow. Yeah, a few people have bought Monad. Yeah, a couple of people. Stardog, have you bought it? I feel like Stardog's bought Monad. A couple of people bought it. I don't know where it's at right now. Does anyone know? Anyone know? It's 7.5% of the total supply is available on Coinbase. You just need some USDC. Over 110 million. Wow. Yo. Morning. Going back to the beginning of the stream. It's all right. Just hang out with us and just watch the stream later on. Is my opinion. Scotland beat Denmark. Did they really? My phone's going crazy because all my friends are watching the football. So, but yeah, like I said, if you're interested, get ready because it's going to be bullish. All are welcome to the greatest story ever told. What's going on, bro? Hope you are well. No, I didn't. Who did then? Someone did. I definitely saw it in the Discord. I can't remember who said they did buy it though. Someone said they bought some. Someone said they bought $5,000 worth. What was it? Oh, there we go. Oh, Erasmo, I think it was. Okay, fine. It was Erasmo as opposed to anything else. So yeah, good news. Good news. Like I said, we'll be covering it. We'll be definitely keeping up to speed with what's going on. So again, I would highly recommend just going and giving them a follow here. Again, on that, and then you are dialed in on it. And what's really good about this, by the way, all organic growth, all you can see here, look, these are numbers you want to see, baby. And then when is the next space, everybody? It is, join the first line, watch by on the Discord, 9 p.m. That was yesterday. When's the next space, you guys? Play recordings. 3 days after the Atlantis IDO, by the way, if you are interested. But I feel like Thursday. There we go. 10:30 a.m. Is that UTC or what is that time? 20,000 likes coming. The charts are going green. Not really. 92,514. Not quite. Damn, I thought I had a stream without Holmes. Man, Holmes just got absolutely wrecked when he walked through the door. No Scotland, no party. I mean, that's true. That's true. Eastern Standard Time. 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, cool. So what's that for UK time? That's going to be like 4 o'clock or something in the afternoon. 3 o'clock. I was close, man. I was close. I was close to be 3:30. So yeah, but definitely check it out for sure. And like I said, get ready because we're going to be covering this for sure. Homes behave. Snowed in tomorrow. Is it really that bad? It does a night in Edinburgh, costs an arm and leg. I've only ever been a couple of times as well. I'm ready for a down on his luck. Rabbit meme coin launch. You know it, mate. You know it. We just need the markets to not be terrible, but we might pull the trigger on it anyway. We might pull the trigger on it anyway. Everything's good to go. Everything's good to go. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Get bullish on this. Ba 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 ba. Bullish on this. Ba 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 ba. Too cold in Scotland? Yeah, I imagine it probably is. Again, definitely go and give this a follow as well if you want to stay up to date what's going on. Keeping ahead of the games. Remember, what color is your Bugatti? Look at this. Whoa, what the hell's going on? Bro. Yeah, check it out. Keep absolutely dialed in for that potential 100x next play that's going to come around the corner. There you go. Good. All right. What time are we on? Holy crap. Where did the last hour? I've been live for an hour and 5 minutes, and I genuinely have no idea where that stream's gone. Like, sometimes we go live, and all of a sudden you're like, yep, stream's finished. What the hell, bro? What the hell? I mean, Crackerjack, it's ready to pull the trigger whenever we want to pull the trigger. The problem is there's no point pulling the trigger on a bad market because nobody's going into coins when they launch. But everything is done. Everything's ready. It's literally one message to the devs to say, launch the contract. Boom, it's out. Like, we're there. We're golden. The trouble you've got is whenever things get bad, you end up then in a world where people end up scrambling for anything they can get. And so what happens is that you get such capitulation in the market, it almost becomes pointless. But I feel that we probably should pull the trigger before we potentially head into a recession or a bear market. But like I said, we are in a place where we're ready just to pull the trigger on it. So yeah, I guess that one of the two questions is we either just do it and send it and see what happens, or we, try and wait for a bit of a bounce in the market. I mean, maybe this Monad thing that, the Monad chain that's going to launch and everything else might be like a good news story. And might actually drive a bit of liquidity onto the base chain and potentially then default into Ethereum and might be an opportunity to launch something then, maybe. $7 trillion sitting on the side in stables. The future is bullish, my friend. Yeah, I mean, the stablecoin market is wild. And I think we talked about this before, didn't we? The fact that the stablecoin market has got such capital in it. No one's actually leaving cryptocurrency. They're just stabling up. Exactly the same as what I've done. Which, not with my entire portfolio, by the way, but I have absolutely put some stablecoin aside with the view that I haven't left the market. It's still sat there. So a REX stablecoin better than USDC. I mean, that's true. That is true. I thought we might be able to see. Monad will be now. Oh, excuse me. Monad will be now after the crash like with Arbitrum was after FTX, but bigger. Yeah, Arbitrum was big, wasn't it? Stablecoin. The writing's on the wall, but the backers and builders. I agree. And yeah, that's why I think we've definitely got some bullishness. Four most important charts in crypto. Stablecoin. Yeah, so this is kind of what we're talking about, isn't it? So I apologize because it's all a bit weird, but stablecoin market cap is increasing. So you could argue maybe they're printing more stablecoin or everyone's just kind of getting ready. You've also got the poly market volume, as in where do people believe that potentially we're going to go to. You've also got here, which again is giving you a bit more of an indication as to the perp volume. So what's running through in terms of stablecoins. And then you got Aave versus banks, which again is important. So what is the ratio you're getting versus some of these? Interesting enough. So yeah, stablecoins are, in my opinion, going to be the future of the bull market, or certainly the future of the market, in my opinion. So yeah, new all-time high soon. Let's hope so. I'm down for it. Tap the like. Let's go. Conspiracy theory true. I mean, that's true. That is true. Our time is being manipulated. I mean, that's also true as well. Time travel. Time travel's a thing. Would it be good to launch with ETH a bit lower to ride it up? Yeah, potentially, yeah. Yeah. What you don't want, though, is to launch when ETH's going down, which I think is, if you remember with Marbits, We launched, had a great launch for like 3 days, broke $1.3 million market cap, and then all of a sudden, boom, obviously a few things went a bit Pete Tong, and before you know it, the market's kind of cooled off, and before we know it, we were getting wrecked. So yeah, worth thinking about. I've been getting some super weird messages. Someone just sent me a message saying, "Hi, are you working?" I put yes, technically I'm working, I'm live. They put, "What do you do for a living?" Shall I put, "I am a YouTuber." Why the questions? Maybe someone wants to be taken up for dinner. Go away, still bullish, baby. Let's hope so. Circle Stockers CK. I don't even know what that means, but right. What was I doing before I got distracted? I was doing something. I got distracted. Can't remember what it was. Can't think what it was. Anyway, right, where are we sitting right now? BTC 92,544 is okay. We have actually had a little bit of a sell-off over the course of the last, couple of hours. This is why we need to be mindful. Bitcoin jumped 4% from below 90K and outpaced the market. Oh, that was what I was going to look at. I was going to look at this, wasn't I? Which is breaking. President Trump says US must establish a federal standard for AI, which prevents woke AI. Oh my God. Why doesn't he just pump the bags for Christ's sake? Investment in AI is helping to make the US economy the hottest in the world. It's propping up the S&P 500. Let's just be clear about that. But overregulation by the states is threatening to undermine this growth engine. Some states are even trying to embed DEI ideology into AI models, producing woke AI. It's pretty wild, in fairness. We can do this way that protects children and prevents censorship. So this is the thing, it's the thing a little bit with Trump. You almost want him to just be like, look, just talk about what's good about the markets, not just like random things that aren't good. I mean, obviously you don't want random things telling your kids to do random things, but at the same time. Andy says, if there's a 5-year cycle, will the next be the same? No. No, because the reason they believe there's a 5-year cycle is because of that debt, the $10 trillion that was rolled out of 2020. Rolled out of 2021 into 2022, which then put everything back a year because you almost got a overhyped stimulus 2021 bull market year. So that aligned into a couple of other things. Fight Clip says you buy in, not at the minute. Bits Plays in the house. Let's go on Bits Plays. Yeah, not at the minute. I'm waiting to see because albeit, the market's bounced a little bit. I think you need to see way more confirmation right now. Way more confirmation in this market that the upside is potentially coming, especially when you've got recessionary fears and the Federal Reserve members have even said it. So, Mal, what's going on, buddy? Welcome. Your fan club has completed stage 1. Don't know what it means, but it sounds bullish, everybody. So thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. The carry trade in Japan. Alvin, what's going on, bud? Carry trade in Japan. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of against it. Don't forget the carry trade unwinded because Japan was like, oh, we might put our interest rates up. Everyone's like, what the hell? Like, you haven't had interest rates for 30 years. Why you put interest rates up? I think the difference with Japan, which probably is not a bad thing for their economy, is they are now starting to stop mass migration, which is it's a challenge and it's a proven fact. And, people can call me whatever they want, but, Japan saw massive migration across there, illegal migration, which then spiked their economy, spiked their cost basis. And the reality was their economy wasn't ready for it. They're actually starting to get hold of it right now. So, it impacts a number of different things. So I think Japan doing that, the carry trade should be okay. Should be okay. I don't necessarily think that we'll see anything super crazy unwinding, but worse things have definitely happened, and certainly things have gone awry in this part of town. So yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. But we'll hold it up. Don't forget, by the way, if you haven't already dropped a little thumbs up, I would massively appreciate it. Thank you all so much for coming in tonight. We massively do appreciate you guys tuning in as well. Well over 1,100 views actually on tonight's live stream. So shout out to everybody. Hope if you join this type of content, turn the notification bell on. I live stream 6 days a week, keeping you guys absolutely dialed into the market. So please, like I said, and hit that follow button as well. If you are here on TikTok as well. Things are going to pick up after Christmas. I mean, let's hope so. January historically, has January been good or bad? Let's have a look. January is normal. January is green actually in 2025. Very well, marginally green in 2024. Very green in 2023. Red in 2022. Okay, so in the last 5 years, we've only had one bearish January. Ooh, maybe January becomes like a big thing. Maybe January's maybe the big thing, which could be good. I truly believe we're going to have an awesome Christmas. Bits, boys, I hope so. I'm down for it. Night, family. See you tomorrow. Alvin, I know how hard you're working, buddy. Get some sleep. Rest up. You got some big days ahead of you, so make it happen, bro. Make it happen. And people don't need to know, but just wish Alvin luck for tomorrow, all right? Everyone just needs to put in the chat. Good luck, Alvin. So from us, good luck, brother. We're not going to say what it's for, but good luck. Fairground says bye. I just cracked open a chocolate orange. Nice, bro. Here's the question, though. Do you eat the segments all the way around and then eat the middle bit by itself? That's the big question you got to ask yourself. That's what you got to ask yourself. Everyone's saying good luck, Alvin. Good luck. Case says good luck. Fairground says good luck. TJ saying good luck, mate. Bullish on you, TJ. You legend. You massive legend. Good. Alrighty. Well, oh man, that's so annoying that does that. So annoying that does it. Okay, 53%. Actually, the chat feels that we may be heading into a recession. Maybe I should have put a time frame on that. 53% of you saying that we could be heading into a recession, which is pretty interesting indeed. Maybe that's true, maybe not. We're obviously going to keep you very much dialed in. By the way, TikTok, be great if we get to 20,000 likes. Also, YouTube, come on, crack on a little bit. 74 likes. If you haven't already hit that like button, do massively appreciate it. Do you believe the bull run is finished? Very short term, yes. But could change very quickly. If that makes sense. So yeah, that's my opinion, by the way. Could change very quickly, but at the minute, I think it's riskier to stay in than to stay out on some of your portfolio. Again, you know, I don't have a crystal ball. If I did, I definitely wouldn't be doing YouTube. I'd be absolutely minted in some sort of yacht somewhere, but I am, and we're going to try and understand the macro sentiment that's within the market. I mean, the charts look pretty bullish today. Let's not kid ourselves. That's a good momentum candle. Good momentum candle, by the way, to the upside. But I don't like this kind of push down that we've had over the course of the last couple of hours. But, you know, we'll see where the daily close comes in and we'll see kind of how this one plays out. But yeah, all good. We are in a recession, or as you said, Mal, a resection, which definitely sounds weird. But, man, why were people so weird on Telegram? So this is genuinely the way this conversation has gone with this random person. Hello. And I said, hi. How's your day going so far? Okay, how about you? I'm doing well, thanks. Are you working? Yes, why? What do you do for a living? I'm a YouTuber. Why the questions? 2 more about you. Why? It's a bit weird. How is it weird? What's wrong with the question? I don't know who you are and why you want to know that about me. Give me a question, chat, to ask. How about I ask you a few questions? What's your name and shoe size? What's the last number in pi? Man, I haven't even looked at pi. We don't even have it on the chart anymore, do we? Which country are you from? I like it, Fairground. I like it. Man, look at Picoin. It's going to the freaking moon. It's at 22 cents. It's not going to the moon at all, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bit of a challenge, isn't it, on Pi? Definitely a bit of a challenge. I heard Robert Dover's a legend. So have I, Stream Elements. So have I. It's probably an automated response, that's why. I mean, potentially. I mean, they've answered. Yeah, I don't understand why they've sent me it. Maybe it's trying to find out what my real name is so he can get a credit card in my name. Imagine that. It'd be wild, wouldn't it? Be wild. For moments now, people have been trying to predict the charts, but the market will do what the market does, especially this cycle, which is all manipulated. I'm just going to hold tight and clench. Magic Craig, everyone needs a strategy, bro. Everyone needs a strategy. So yeah, ask the person where they live and ask the hoodie size. I mean, I've asked their shoe size. They haven't replied. They haven't even typed it. They've typed the whole time. The other one, they've gone, yep, this is a weirdo. Oh, dear me. Watch this strange rash. Yeah, I'm coming out in a rash after talking to you. Anyway, with that being said, it is always great to have you guys on the live stream. FYI, thank you so much, by the way. What I would say, and I feel like I don't say this enough, right? I feel like I don't say this enough, so I'm going to say it and be a bit sentimental here. But right now, the channel is really starting to grow again. So I massively, massively appreciate all the support you guys are giving, because it is making a massive difference, whether it's on TikTok and actually starting to see some real growth on there, and whether it's here on YouTube as well. At the minute, I was in a pretty like challenging space, not in like a weird way that like I felt like quitting YouTube or anything, but like I was in a place where I was putting content out and just nobody was watching it. Like no one. It was really kind of getting to be a bit more challenging and just being a bit like, oh man, like what the hell is going on? But recently the channel's definitely starting to pick up on, you know, we're doing like 200,000 views a month. We're doing like 500 subscribers every single month, which is kind of nice. Like the channel is outpacing some of the more traditional channels, which are similar in my sort of neck of the woods. So it is down to you guys just being here every night, hitting the like button, commenting in the chat, hitting, you know, following, all that kind of good stuff. Like it is massively helping out and it really is pushing it. Take tonight's live stream as an example, 1,200 views with a 6-minute average duration. I know that doesn't really mean a lot to you guys, but it helps me. It really does help me, and I'm really enjoying putting the content out and definitely kind of, you know, definitely trying to work hard in terms of the content I put out has value as opposed to it just being read a news article, which I think a lot of people do. So massively appreciate it. I think, you know, 2026 is definitely going to be a year that is going to be exciting. We've got the end of 2025 and maybe, just maybe, there is some more bullish news to come. And if you don't believe me, Bitcoin, well, it could be back to go back over $93,000. So, as always, thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to be back tomorrow night. Don't forget, double stream if Vern can be asked to come and stream with me again tomorrow night. Otherwise, we'll just have a max 2-hour stream. And then, yeah, all pretty bullish. As always, though, I'm here for you too, but love your work. Jeremy, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. You definitely grind in the face of adversity. Man, you guys are ace. Thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate it. Look out for some content coming out tomorrow. Remember, Bitcoin update video with macroeconomics, 11:30 UK time. Then we get XRP video about 4 o'clock in the afternoon and then anything in between. Look out for Monad, Atlantis on Monad coming tomorrow as well. You guys, by the way, are a set of legends. See you soon.